Hey parents, Mr. Jim here to tell you why kids love learning with Osmo's Genius Starter Kit. Osmo uses real tangible pieces that look and feel just like toys, combining them with immersive digital experiences to create fun, whole child learning adventures. They'll have a blast with the Genius Starter Kit, playing games that explore math, reading, and more. Just in time for the holidays, get up to 40% off select kits and games. Order today at playosmo.com. That's playosmo.com. Osmo, learning well played.
Hello, critter protectors. Mr. Jim here, and welcome to Kids Animal Stories, a place where there's always a mystery and adventure around every single corner. If you love critters of all shapes and sizes, I need you on our Critter Protector team. Join our adventure as we learn about critters from around the world and in our backyards. Well, my friends, are you ready for today's adventure? Me too! Let's go!
On the last episode, we met a critter named George, who we're not sure what kind of critter George is, but we do know that he's slow and he usually spends his time up in trees. But you'll have to listen to chapter 1 first, because something crazy happened. George! Oh no! He fell out of his tree! George was falling from his tree and was headed straight for the ground. George tried to reach out to grab anything, but all he seemed to grab was air. Down he went, right into a pile of leaves at the base of his tree.
George! Are you all right?
Screamed Teddy the monkey from up in the tree. George was a little shaken up. He'd never fallen out of his tree before like that. It was really scary. Falling was very fast, and George didn't like anything that was fast. As he tried to gain his balance, he began to reach up to his tree, but he had fallen a few feet away from it. Oh dear. That meant he was gonna have to crawl to get back. Do you remember how slow he crawls? Yeah, crawling was very dangerous for him. He was such a slow-moving critter that predators could easily get him if he was on the ground.
Oh, George! I'm coming to help you! Hold on!
Cried Teddy the monkey as he raced down the tree. George watched in amazement as Teddy raced down the tree as fast as he climbed through it. It was amazing. Teddy surely was a fast creature. As Teddy arrived to the ground, he raced over to George.
Oh, George, this is all my fault. I'm just not meant to hang upside down like you,
said Teddy.
Oh, Teddy, it's not your fault. I just lost my balance. I'll get back to my tree, but I'm not as fast as you are. It's going to take me a little bit to get back to the base of the tree.
Is there anything I could do?
George thought for a minute and then had an idea.
Yes, Teddy. I crawl even slower than I move in the trees. I might need you to keep a sharp eye out there for any predators.
I can do that, George. You can count on me,
said Teddy the monkey. He stood guard next to George to watch for predators as George began crawling to the trunk of his tree. George began crawling with all of his might. He put out his long claws in front of him and pulled himself across the ground. Every single minute on the ground was dangerous. George used all of his strength to move closer and closer to the tree. Have you ever climbed a tree? Was it hard or easy? I feel like it kind of depends on if the branches are in good spots or not. Like sometimes if the branches are in the right places, it's kind of easy to climb a tree, but if the branches are, too far apart, it can be really hard. Well, time went on and George had finally made it to the base of his tree safely. As he began to climb up on the trunk, he heard Teddy yell,
I hear something, George.
George knew he was running out of time and had to get back to the tree. He sunk his claws into the trunk of the tree and pulled up with all of his might. He started slowly lifting off the ground. Inch by inch, he moved up the trunk.
Hurry, George! Something's moving in the leaves!
Yelled Teddy the monkey. Teddy raced across the ground and started to swing up into the tree. He had to help George before it was too late. The leaves started rustling on the ground. It was getting closer to them.
George, grab my paw. I'll pull you up.
George used all of his strength to grab Teddy's paw, and he pulled George up just in time. Just as George was lifted into the tree branches, a python came slithering out of the leaves. He had been following George. Phew, that was a close one. George was so relieved to be back up in his tree.
Thank you, Teddy. You saved my life.
That's what friends are for.
George was so happy. He had finally made a friend. And Teddy was a great friend because he actually didn't mind that George was slow. He enjoyed his company and liked to be with him. It didn't matter that he was the slowest critter in all of South America. Teddy liked him for who he was, and that was enough for him. All right, hold on a second. Have you figured out what kind of critter that George is? He's slow and lives in South America. All right. He's got claws. Oh, and he likes to hang upside down. I think I know who George is. George is a bat. Yeah, bats love to hang upside down and have claws on their... What are you saying? George is not a bat? Oh, yeah, bats don't really crawl on the ground. And I guess George could have just flown, but I don't think George can fly. Okay, not a bat. What did you say? You think George is a sloth? Oh, I think you're right. Sloths, yes, they live up in trees. They have those claws on their hands and... Oh yeah, they're not good on the ground. They're very slow at crawling. Yes, George is a sloth. Great job. Wow, that was an amazing adventure. I know this may be the end of the story, but I'm so glad that George the sloth now is best friends with Teddy the monkey. I think this is only just the beginning of the amazing adventures that lie ahead for these two friends. The end. We'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Great job, Critter Protectors. You listened all the way to the end, and now it's time for me to say hello to some of my Critter Protector friends. I want to say hey to Jojo from New York, Emma and Lily from Massachusetts, Elijah from Florida, Rayan from Texas, Abel from Maryland, Ellis from Illinois, and Sahara from Arizona. I'm so glad that you're all Critter Protectors. We definitely could not protect all the critters without you, my friends. Well, you have a super duper day, and I will see you on our next adventure. Bye!